to go. So I'm delighted to see so many of you. I think the last time I looked at the counter, there were over 80 people. So Cage me defaulted to one and all. If it's your first time joining us in UCD Access and Lifelong Learning, we're delighted to see you. If you have encountered us before and you're coming back, a big hello to one and all. So as Fiona said this morning, I'm going to talk to you about UCD, a university for all. So you see on the screen in front of you, I have the pin. I'm wearing my pin. It's UCD, University for All, Oscail Gach, Ireland's first inclusive university. And we are so proud of that. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. But before I do, I'd like to talk to you about you and how you're feeling today. So when you decided to click on here today, I'm sure you had a mixture of feelings. Some of you were excited and determined and hopeful, but others might be a little anxious or nervous or unsure. But what I can assure you is that you are in the right place. You have come to the right place. And we have a secret weapon in UCD, which is access and lifelong learning. Now, UCD, oops, sorry about that. Oh, blessed. Why is this running on? Okay, I'll pick up where I left off. As I said, you've come to the right place. So UCD, we are proud to be the first inclusive university, and we were founded over 160 years ago by John Henry Newman, which you may have come across. And at that time, access to university was not always a given, and there were members of our community who were not permitted, and they were particularly members of the Catholic population. So Newman, like us in Access and Lifelong Learning, and indeed like you, liked the challenge. So he sought to address this, and he set up a small university in St. Stephen's Green in Dublin. And his first class was rather small, it had 17 students. So we can trace our roots back to the provision of access to education for people who are excluded and who have been excluded. And we like to say that access is in our DNA. And as I said, we have a secret weapon in UCD, and that secret weapon is access and lifelong learning. And you heard Fiona there refer to the staff in access and lifelong learning and the access leaders. They're the students who have come through the access route. So our staff are a team of experts who have a very, very wide knowledge of all of the issues. So they are there to support you. You'll meet some of them today, but others, if you join us, for your higher education, you will have the pleasure of working with them. I have the pleasure every day of working with my colleagues who are the staff and with the access leaders. The next slide we will turn to is, I suppose, the key message, the key message that we try to convey through access and lifelong learning, and it is that all students, no matter where they've come from, what their background or circumstances is, they belong, they are welcome, they are valued. So that is the reason we are absolutely thrilled that you're considering studying in UCD. And as you know, most people consider UCD as their first choice. So we're thrilled. We're expecting you. We have prepared for your arrival. We have talked to current access students, so we know the supports that you need, and we will support you to thrive, to succeed, to realize your ambitions. And that is our job. So the final part of the presentation I have, I'm going to entitle it, Did You Know? And some facts which I think are very important that you should know when you're considering a university for your higher education. The first fact is UCD has reserved, that's 1/4, that's what I said, 1/4 of the places are reserved for applicants that come from communities like yours. So that's a very real commitment the university has made. So those places are reserved for you and you alone. The next fact that I have in here is that we have the largest scholarship program in the country. It's called Cortrim na Féine, and Cortrim na Féine means, it's the university's motto. It means justice and equality. or in common conversation, we call it leveling the playing pitch. So the Cotton and Fenna scholarships are awarded every year at the University Entrance Scholarships. And on the slide here in front, I have Professor Rogers presenting some of the awards to the lucky recipients this year. So that's the largest scholarship program in the country. The next fact I have, if my slide ever moves on, is that 1/3 of our students in UCD come from communities, diverse communities, diverse backgrounds. So that's 1/3 of our students. And if you just take a moment there to look on the screen, you see that there are students of all ages, and some who are current students, like the very center of the screen, you see My Uni Life. And that shows an image of Adam Freegrove, who is featuring at the moment on the TV program that's on Friday nights. And he has just graduated from medicine. And above and below him, there are some current students, some students who were very proud to meet the Minister for Higher Education last year. To your left, there are some former students or alumni, as we call them. So in there you have a solicitor, a teacher, a scientist, and a public official. And on the right, you see there are some lifelong learning students who are getting their award again from Professor Rogers because they have been honoured as role models for people to continue their learning. So you see the breadth of the students, but the fact I would like you to remember is that 1/3 of our students in UCD come from diverse backgrounds. So that's a very important fact. And the backgrounds they come from represent the DEIS schools, for example, further education colleges. We have students who decide to begin their higher education after working or later in life, and they're referred to as mature students, the students with disabilities, students who are themselves parents. Some students only study part-time. Some students combine work and study, and some students continue learning just for the love of it. And they continue it throughout their lives. So that's a very important element of what UCD does. So you can see we really are a university for all. So if you choose to come to us, there are all sorts of possibilities that my colleagues will take you through and give you the details on. So the last piece is that we have 7 pathways to study, and Fiona is going to go through all of the details around studying in UCD. Many people think that there is only one path to study in UCD. On the contrary, there are currently 7 different pathways to study in UCD. And as I said, Fiona will explain all of that to you later. So let me finish with an image of the film Bohemian Rhapsody and of Freddie Mercury and Queen. And some of you are probably wondering, saying, why did she do that? What has that got to do with an open day in UCD? But for me, when I heard that song yesterday, the song Don't Stop Me Now, it resonated with me, and I thought it reflects the journey that you are on. You are finding out information about higher education. So you're on a journey, and what I would say to you is don't stop now. Continue on. I look forward to meeting, I'm sure, many of you next academic year, but perhaps some of you are at the beginning stages of considering higher education, and I look forward to seeing you when you decide. So my message to you is don't stop now, and I want to wish you all the best today, and thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. That was absolutely great. So if you just bear with us 2 minutes, we're going to hand the control back to Enya of the slides. So what I'm going to do for the next little while is take you through, as Anna said, we've 7 pathways into UCD, and I'm going to give you an overview of those pathways. So let us start off with the HEAR scheme, the Higher Education Access Route. This is for school leavers. On to the next slide. Brilliant. So this is for school leavers. It's based on 6 pieces of information. So we would ask you questions around financial and cultural, social and cultural circumstances of your family. So the first question we'd ask you is your family income below 1,790 in the year 2019? Do you have a GP medical card, either yourself as a student or in your family? Is there a means tested social welfare payment in the family? Then on the social and cultural side, we ask you to describe your parents' occupation, and then that is decided, is it one of the ones that is underrepresented at third level? Have you attended a DESH school, and do you live in an area of concentrated disadvantage? So as I said, it's based on 6 pieces of information, but you need just 3 to be eligible. So the first is income, and then the right combination of financial or social and cultural indicators. So applicants for the HERE scheme apply through the CAO. Next slide there, thank you. To the CAO, and then depending on your household circumstances, there's a number of supporting documents that you'll need to supply. And these are all readily available online at the moment. So if you're employed or self-employed, it could be a P21 or a self-assessment chapter 1. If you're in receipt of social welfare, we've already provided the form in the HERE booklet, and you can just pull that out and get it stamped and signed by your local office. Then if you're in the care of the state, all you need is a letter from TUSLA. There are other forms then if there has been a redundancy payment in that year, or if you've received a lump sum. So as I said, these are all readily available online, so there should be no problem in getting them. The next scheme then is the DARE scheme, and this is again for school leavers, and it's for students whose education has been impacted by a disability. There's just 2 pieces of information that we need here from you. So first is your evidence of your disability, and you'll get that from your consultant. And then the second is your educational impact statement, and this comes from your school. So both of those pieces of information go to determining your eligibility. So we welcome students who would have any of these disabilities to apply to the DARE scheme. So disabilities including autism, Asperger's, ADD, ADHD, blind, visually impaired, deaf, hard of hearing, DCD, dyspraxia, mental health conditions, neurological conditions, speech and language communication disorders, significant ongoing illnesses, physical disabilities, and then specific learning difficulties. So the next pathway is to look at progression from further education. What's really attractive about this particular pathway is that after your year in further ed, you will have a QQI qualification, and then you can use that as a pathway into a degree program here in UCD. It is a growing area, and we have 25 programs now accept this as a progression pathway. Examples of the programs are science, ag science, the new sustainability course, arts, humanities, business, law, and nursing. What we always advise students is to look at the program that they would like to do here in UCD. Go to the website then, click on the program, and you'll be able to see the acceptable award and modules that you will need to do in your local further education college. This group of students do very well in UCD. So for mature students, there's a number of options available. So one, if you know what degree you'd like to do, you can apply as a mature student. Mature students are students who are over 23, and you make your application through the CAO. For students then that are not sure what they'd like to do or have been away from studying for a number of years, you can do what's called a university access course. So this is a 1-year course, it's part-time, and we have 2 strands that prepare you for different programs in UCD. So the first strand prepares you for courses in arts, humanities, social sciences, and law. And then the second strand prepares you for courses in science, engineering, agricultural science, and medicine. And just to say, we have a very vibrant and active student population here in UCD. So our next pathway is our open learning. This is a relatively new program. So what this does is allows students to choose from over 300 modules. You don't need any prior qualifications, so you can do your modules either for credit or for audit. So credit is where you do the exams and the assignments, and you can build up your credits, and audit is just purely for interest. It's a very flexible way, and you can do it on a part-time basis. And students can build up 30 credits and use this as a pathway into some of their programs. So the programs that accept this as a pathway at the moment are arts and humanities, science and social sciences. And our final pathway then is our lifelong learning. And these are short interest courses, and they're there just for the pure joy of learning. Again, you don't need any prior qualifications. And what I've seen students doing is using this as a kind of a starting point for returning to learning. They're delivered both in the day and in the evening. Okay. So you've heard all about now our pathways of getting into UCD. So I'm going to hand you over to our access leaders. First of all, Favour, then Faye, and then Gareth, who are going to tell you a little bit about what you could expect as a student here in UCD. So I'll hand you over to Favour now. Thank you.
Thanks, Fiona. Good morning, everyone. So I'm just going to be talking about a few of the financial and academic supports available in UCD. So first of all, the student welcome is something that they always have for students at the start of the year, where you get to get like a start to college before everyone else comes in. So it's like you're getting a head start to college life, and you're also getting a head start to social life as well. And you get to meet other people also. So that's something that I've found really, really helpful when it comes to making friends and getting to know other people. I found it really, really helpful. Like I always tell the staff here that like most of my friends that I made, they were made through the student welcome. So it's really good to have like a support like this where you get to meet people beforehand. And then Anna mentioned before as well about like the scholarship opportunities. So like she said before, there's a from the FENA scholarship, which is where students get to apply for a lump sum of money that they get every year. And then also the HEA organization also has the 1916 bursary scholarships, which is another type of scholarship that you can apply for. And then you have the PATH Open Learning Scholarship, like Fiona was talking about earlier. So it's a scholarship you can do, I think you can do up to 4 modules at most, and you can, all of these scholarships, you can get help from the Access Center when it comes to like applying for them and getting more information for them. And then also, aside from financial supports, there's also academic supports available as well. So I know for me, like at the start, there's also academic and then there's financial supports. So with academic and personal support, Faye will talk a bit more on this later on, but there's a lot of like different like technologies and stuff that Access Center are always like learning about to like help students when it comes to learning. And then also if you need your own type of support, the Access Center are always there. Like if you're struggling in an area, they can like organize for you to maybe meet with somebody who is like a year above you to like get help from them, or like they'll, even if they don't know the answer themselves, they'll always go and try to find the answer for you. So they're really helpful for that. And then with financial supports, I remember at the start of the year in first year, they met with every one of us to see like a budget so that we could start to see how much we're trying to spend for the semester, and just so that we could like make sure that everything was organized. So yeah, when it comes to the Access Center, they're really, really great for support. And yeah, I'm going to pass you on to Faye now.
Hi guys, so I'm here to tell you about what you can expect from UCD. So the academic workshops for independent learning. So the All Centre offers workshops on Wednesday afternoons during term time, and these workshops help with the settling into college. So I'll just name a few of them. So there's this year there's studying at a distance, then there's also note-taking, time management, writing and research, referencing and stress management, and then also exam preparation as well. So I think these are really useful because I think every student that comes into UCD always worries about especially reference and stuff like that, because you're just not used to it in secondary school. And then reasonable academic and exam accommodations for students with a disability. So all students with a disability or an ongoing illness have the opportunity to receive supports. So how this works is, in your first week or two, I think it is, you get a needs assessment, and the needs assessment you can talk through what supports you think you might need, and then you also get some recommendations as well, things that maybe you haven't heard of before. And some of the supports then are extra time. So I think for exams, so it'll be extra time. So I think it's 10 minutes per hour. Then also alternative exam locations, so not in the RDS. And you can also have the chance to have the use of a reader if you need it. So these all depend on what suits your needs best. But it's really important, because I remember when I was coming from secondary school, I was kind of thinking, because UCD is so big, I didn't think that there'd be as much support as there was in secondary school. But like, they've been amazing with all the supports. So then assistive technology. So that's something that I had never heard of until I did my needs assessment. So assistive technology are a range of tools with spelling and a range of tools that make learning more accessible. So these include software that you can get on your computer. I have Grammarly, which helps your spelling and grammar, which is like kind of been a lifesaver for me for assignments. Because whatever I have done, then I can put it through to Grammarly, and if I've made spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes, then it kind of directs you to what you need to look at. Then there's also digital pens that people use, and I think they're quite popular. I've seen loads of people using them in lecture halls, so you can record lectures on them. Then there's also adaptive tools for those that have visual or hearing impairments, and also alternative inputs with students for mobility. And I think I think Emily will be able to talk about that more. She's at the booth between 1 to 4. And then the Access Leadership Development Opportunity. So you have the opportunity to become an Access leader. And I had done the UCD Welcome. And as soon as I did that, I knew I wanted to do an Access leader, because the work that they did was so amazing on, helping your transition into college. And I've done a lot of things being an Access leader. So I've done the All Student Welcome, and then I also got to show then the first years around and answer any questions that they might have had. It was a lot of fun, and I also got to show primary school students around, which like they had never seen university before, so that was a really fun day as well. I also helped out at the higher options for the last 2 years, and then I got invited to talk at my old secondary school about the Here and There program as well. And what it's done for my confidence, like I wouldn't have been able to talk like this as I am if it wasn't for being an Access leader and all the supports that they do. And there's also loads of training things. You can get a few emails about new training things that you can do. So one of the ones I did recently was blindness awareness, and it was very interesting. So yeah, I have to say it's one of the things that I enjoyed the most about college, and I'll definitely be sad when I leave college that I won't be able to do it. But I'll pass you on to Gareth now. Thank you.
Thank you, Faye. The tips for making a successful application. I know how simple this sounds, but reading the information booklets is probably one of the most positive things you'll do. It can give you information such as the requirements to get into the course, which is sometimes easily overlooked. If you're going in through a QQI, it can tell you how many, say, distinctions you'll need or everything like that. Another way is to simply ask us questions. We understand today that there's been an information overload. You've been given information left, right, and center, and it's extremely difficult to remember all this information and to make use of it. So ask us. We're here to help. We understand this. We've been through this process ourselves, and we can understand how daunting it can be. Another thing is, do your CAO early. There's no penalty for doing it earlier. The earlier you do it, the better. The less likely you are to forget it. It closes on the 1st of February. But if you do it earlier, it gives you time to get the relevant and supporting documents for your application, such as here and there. They close on the 1st of March and the document has to be provided by the 15th of March. So the earlier, the better. It gives you more time. You're not rushing to get everything done. If you want to start through University Access or Open Learning, you don't do a CAO, you apply directly to UCD through the Access Centre. I'm going to pass you back to Fiona, who will continue on with this presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. So just to, Gareth covered many of the dates, but as he said, it makes a sense to apply early. And also there's the early bird rate as well if you apply before the 20th of January. You must have completed your application by the 1st of February, your CAO application by the 1st of February. For here and there students, you have a little bit of extra time to complete the here and there sections, and you must have that done by the 1st of March. Your supporting documents need to be in the CAO by the 15th of March. You'll get your outcome of eligibility again for here and there students towards the end of June, and then the offers start coming. So mature students, you can expect your offers to come in early July. QQI students, you can expect your offers to come around early August. And then the round one, which is the Leaving Cert cohort, they will come in mid-August. And we usually have our ALL student welcome the last week of August. And as Favour said, it is an opportunity to get a head start in college, to get to meet new friends and get a better idea of how the learning is going to be. So I just have a couple of reminders just before we finish up. So as Anna said, we have 25% or a quarter of our places are reserved for all of these pathways. So there's a dedicated quota tagged and ring fenced for these quota of places. That you're not just applying for a place, you're applying for a place, but you're also applying for the post-entry supports to ensure your success. Students that are here and there eligible, and students that have either a physical or a sensory disability, you're prioritised when we're giving out the offers. So, as Gareth said, we've given you a huge amount of information today. And we'd welcome you coming and visiting us at our booth, which is in the Central Exhibition Hall, and you can either ask general questions or you can chat to members of the team on an individual basis. We have some follow-up sessions. So on the 23rd of November, we're going to do a webinar, and that will concentrate on here and there applicants. Then on the 24th of November, we have a lifelong taster lecture, and it'll also concentrate on mature university access and open learning applications. Our website contains all our details on our scholarships and our pathways in. The Access College is also a helpful resource for here and there applicants, and then please drop us an email because we'd love to hear from you. So thank you all for joining us this morning. As we said, we've quite a lot of information that we've given to you. So this session has been recorded and it will be available on this website for you to dip into over the next 2 months. And then, so again, thank you all very much for joining us, and we look forward to meeting you over the next few years. Thank you.